Well, hi, I'm Alan Creach, and I'm out here in the back of the production facility here at Creach Greenhouse. And if you watch some of our YouTube videos, you'll know that we have a retail outlet called the Plant Farm. But all of the plant product that goes through the plant farm, for the most part, originates back here in the back in these production growing facilities. We're in house number 215. And I want to address a question that people are asking me all the time. And that's, how can I make my hanging basket look as nice and beautiful as it looks right now when you get it in the store? And it's quite easy. And there's 4 things that you need to remember. And the first thing I want to deal with is water. And of course, every pot is different because our climate's different and the use of the plant. And when you think in terms of the size of the pot, that makes a difference. But for a 12-inch pot like this, about the most amount of water that a 12-inch pot will hold at any one time is maybe 3 cups. So I'm just going to pour that on. And as you noticed, that water was fertilized water. Okay, so when we think about the 4 things we need to remember, the first thing is the water, and the second thing is the fertilizer. And we're always using a water-soluble fertilizer in every gallon of water that we put out on the plants. And this particular water-soluble fertilizer is one I'd like to recommend to you if you have hanging baskets with petunias or calibrachoa or the verbena, because it's adjusted specifically for those types of plants. You're going to want to follow the instructions on that. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do, but what I will say is don't take the very last little bit of that water and pour it, because many times it doesn't dissolve that last little bit and you can burn the plant. So water and fertilizer. So the next thing I want to talk to you about are the bugs, because every year in the summertime, we have just these bazillions of small little bugs. We call them thrips. Sometimes you'll have aphids, but thrips are our #1 enemy during July and August, because they'll fly around and they'll land in our bloom and they'll literally suck the life and the color right out of the plant. Now, you can protect the plant against that, and it's very easy to do if you'll use a systemic insecticide like I have here in my hand. And it's not difficult if you just follow what the instructions are. It typically will tell you on most of these different systemic insecticides to use about once every 4 to 6 weeks. So I like to think about it like this. When we have the holidays through our summer season, so Memorial Day, and then the 4th of July, and then we got Labor Day. So about that time frame, once every 4 weeks or so, we're going to just go ahead and put that systemic insecticide right inside the pot and then make sure we water it in. And if you do that, what you'll find is you'll control most of the insects that land on this basket. And that leaves us one final thing that we want to deal with. So we talked about the water, and we talked about the fertilizer, and we talked about the bugs. And the last thing we want to think about is shaping the plant or pruning the plant. So these things can keep growing all summer long, and sometimes they get a little irregular, a little bit like your hair. Not all hair grows the same speed. And so we'll just come in here and very carefully choose a few. And I'd like to say about every 2 weeks, we're going to take maybe 25% of the growth tips off of our basket. Not that much. It's not going to change the way the basket looks. But what it's going to do is it's going to force this plant to branch out. And when it branches, it's going to create additional blooms. So again, very simple. We're going to deal with the water. We're going to deal with the fertilizer. We've already dealt with the bugs. And then the last thing is the shape of the plant, a little bit of continual pruning. And if you'll follow those 4 very simple things, you're going to have a lot of great success with your hanging basket or your planter this summer.